Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Galactic Reviews. This week, we did a review on the movie called Run, Hide, Fight. And so quick synopsis for this movie was it is about a girl who has a father who is an ex-Marine and who has been known to hunt. Goes with her friend to school like a normal day on a senior prank day. During the school day, there is a mass shooting at the school that and she tries to escape and get as many people out as she can. And does she survive? Go watch the movie to find out. It is on Daily Wire, or you can go find a copy. We don't call it. We're Christian fellows. We don't call it piracy. We call it a burnt offering. But go check it out. And if you have not watched it, but we're going to go ahead and give a spoiler-free synopsis first, and then we will delve into spoilers later on. So quickly, let's go through what we think of the movie spoiler-free, starting with, you know what, I'll go first. To give it a light feeling. So I liked this movie. I liked it a lot. I thought it seemed like a good, like very well played out. The acting seemed fun. The acting seemed good. All the scenes seemed relatively good. I thought the cinematography was good. I thought both the lead actress and the antagonist of this film, the main antagonist, did a really good job of being in character. And yeah, I didn't really have much of a problem with this film. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 for me, because I thought it was very well made, and that could change, because this is what it's all this is what the talk's about. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 for me. Who wants to go next?
I got a lot to say about this movie. Most kindly way possible, I absolutely hated this movie. The acting was very good. The actors, the main lead actress, the main antagonist, all of the acting was very well done. Whether it was the victims or all the acting was very good. That being said, I think the topic was in very, very poor taste. It was like, we're gonna do Die Hard but make it a school shooting, which is a very serious topic, especially in the recent years. I know my school had a school shooting scare. There was a lot of rumors going around. They ended up being false, but my school was on high alert for a bit, a couple of years back. So as a subject, I think it was very, very in ill taste. The writing was decently bad. The characters, I did not like the characters, but I liked the acting of the characters. There were some very big, I guess, discontinuities that I pointed out. But some of the acting was very well done. So from an acting standpoint, I feel like these actors can do quite well in the future. From a story standpoint, I did not enjoy watching it. It wasn't even, I think, a beneficial or good social or political commentary. I would give it like a 1. I think it's still, I did not enjoy this movie.
Yeah, real quick, if you could, would you give this movie a negative, Andrew?
I think it shouldn't have been made. So if a negative is it shouldn't have been made, then yes.
Okay.
I mean, we'll make a 1. Shouldn't have been made. 0 needs to go. Needs to be burned in
if they had
a
literally
forgotten place.
done the story in like a mall and not in school the way they did, I feel like I would have sat through it much better. But because it was dealing on the topic of school shooting,
Yeah, I let me just. I agree the acting was great. The topic of the movie, it was, it wasn't, the movie wasn't terrible, but the way they portrayed a school shooting and everything, it, yes, it gives you the idea of just how bad it can be, and it is, but I just, I wouldn't really want to watch, and didn't really want to watch a movie about a school shooting, mostly. Um, this movie, I would, yes, I would say I would recommend this movie for other people to watch if they want to kind of get an understanding of a school shooting. No, I don't think that would work either.
I'll disagree with that statement only because
Yeah,
it was
no,
able
I
to
said it and I immediately decided to take it back.
and I have points on that.
I don't know. Uh, I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't really enjoy this movie. As far as a rating would go, for acting and everything, I would rate that really high. For the plot and just the overall premise of the movie, it's so for me, I would give it like a 4. I will be back. I'm being paged.
I don't know
So,
pages anymore. All right,
should I just wait for him or just go ahead?
go ahead.
So, personally, acting wise, I think it was very phenomenal. I think each actor did a very good job portraying their character. Now, I also agree with Zach. I believe the scenario they delivered was almost to the extreme, almost. But the one thing I will have to disagree with Zach is the planning issue. Because, yes, I don't believe 16, 17, 15-year olds, heck, Kip was 18. Uh, I believe they can plan it out with enough time and effort
Mhm.
because I've been in somewhat of a similar situation, not shooting, but a bomb threat, and it was one wire away from being detonated. We I was in the bad side. I was on the bad side of school. So personally, I can see the planning phase and all that happening, but I thought some of it was almost to the extreme, such as the whole. We'll talk about it, but I think it was the planning was a little extreme in whole. But I believe some of the planning was very consistent of what could happen.
Mhm. In my mind, yeah, of course, any operation like this is going to be planned out. It's not going to be just spur of the moment. Um, I feel in most cases, again, I haven't done my research as well.
So I believe that this kind of planning can be done, but the extreme of this is one of those things you sort of need more of a higher mastermind than what
Yeah.
the main villain portrayed at himself as.
Yes.
So, but
So your final review then, I guess.
my final review, I would have to give it more of an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk more about it when we continue.
Yeah, that's fine. No, yeah, no, I think I will retract my statement. They do have to put some planning into what it is. Mostly just a overall general purpose for what they want to achieve. It's just really sick and twisted to try to get into that mindset of what they want to do, and I just don't really want to get into the head of someone like that, mostly.
So I'll just preface this. I'm probably going to say from now on the discussion is going to be discussion is going to
I will
be
go ahead and just say this. I will go ahead and change mine to an 8.5 because this is going to go downhill. I feel
it's
like I'm gonna get. I feel like I'm gonna
I know
get crucified by.
you rated this movie higher than you rated Joker.
Did I really?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I'll make it an 8.5.
I'm gonna say yeah. Spoilers. Probably after this, we're gonna be discussing specific details. Yeah, I think the main thing for me that pushes my review down so hard is just the subject matter. Um, if you wanted to approach this more like a documentary or a discussion and not like an action movie, this is the wrong topic to choose.
I would rather if they did a documentary, just do it on a true story of how it went
Yeah,
down for
like
a school
based off
shooting.
of like this like more like a reenactment for history's sake and than it is for Die Hard, but for a younger audience, if they wanted to do that, a mall would have been a much better choice because someone could have planned a heist of the mall and locked it down and had all this planned. Um,
You
a
mean
very
kind of like what you mean kind of like what they did with Wonder Woman?
I was gonna bring it up, but I thought it was ill-timed.
sure, yeah, but like they could have done this without having to target on um, do it as a school shooting. And I know because for my generation, for our generation, school violence to this degree is something that is a very real thing for us. Because I had two bombing scares. They weren't, in my case, they were not real, but there were two bomb threats that happened and it ruined the whole like day and people were on edge the rest of the week. And for my school, there was rumors going around of someone planning to shoot up the school. They ended up being not true and they just being rumors spread, but that messed up the school for like 2 weeks to the point where parents are like no longer letting their kids go to school. So for me, it was just why would you choose this topic?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is for awareness. But if that was the case, I don't think it was the best way
No,
to do it
it was
as an
even
action.
this was a Die Hard movie. Like the girl got shot in the leg and then still ran through the halls, albeit leaning on one leg. But being an 18-year-old and getting shot in the leg, you're not going to be just like you don't have basically the training and experience to be able to like push through that for such a long time. And I get
Well,
the
that
adrenaline,
and her adrenaline wouldn't last that long in that
yes,
case.
but she ran across the hallway right after she got shot.
Wasn't her hand crushed at one point?
Yes, and she didn't like flinch or make a move or anything.
Yeah.
And normally, people have to be trained in torture resistance to do that.
To be fair though, she does have a military dad,
Yes, but
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
but
understand
I
she
don't.
could probably get some training. I understand not everything, but she knows enough of what to do
yes,
that
yes.
she can try her
But
best.
a lot of this is a mental thing, and as you saw through the whole movie, she was having a bit of a problem with mental herself mentally.
I don't like the way they wrote the characters. The her best friend character was literally had no other character trait other than being her love interest and her best friend. They really didn't flesh him out much at all. Um,
Well, I mean, he didn't break in and entering. He didn't. He just entered. He didn't break in.
like um, the way that there's so many things. One issue that I stopped the movie for just because it hurt my head was that she wears this green army jacket the whole movie, and then at one point she takes it off. It is symbolic based on how much they stressed that she is letting things go. She's moving on. She's no longer like hiding. But you see this line of cuts on her arm after she does it.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna ask how she even got those because didn't make so much sense to me.
my theory is that those are self-harm scars. Um,
Yeah, but when did she even have the time? Because she was out all morning hunting.
that's the thing. She's had the jacket on the entire movie. We haven't seen her arm the entire movie up until
No, we she wasn't having it when she didn't have it on when they were eating breakfast, right before she left for school.
there we go. That's another. Well, I was gonna say right when she took it off, she did not have any marks on the arm. But later on the scene, literally the very next scene, she all of a sudden had all these cuts on her arm when nothing happened to her in between those scenes. The only thing that possibly could have happened was that it was at the very end. The SWAT team arrested her and the bomb went off. Maybe the shrapnel could have gotten her, but I rewound it, and she had those scratches on her arm before the bomb went off.
She had that before.
This is just a criticism on how the movie did it. If they were self-harm scars, that was not how you SFX self-harm scars. Those looked like fresh cuts. That, and like, if she's gonna have self-harm scars, make sure they're consistent, and not just like looks like she did it in between scenes. I did really like the main villain. He was just a good villain, I guess. From a action movie standpoint, the plan was very thorough.
And see, I sort of like how they slowly introduced the plan, because I thought that was really ingenious, but in the same sense, like you said, the main villain was a spectacular villain. I loved it. It was, he had a lot of personality, and you knew what he was thinking to a point. But I just feel like that overall plan needed someone else's guidance, because that was too extremely well planned to be just done.
Yeah.
He would need to do a lot of research to get that timing down.
Yeah.
And he said he did all this in what, 2 months? All the planning and getting the resources to do this in 2-3 months?
I don't remember if he ever said that. All I remember was that he had already had a plan when he went to go to his office, I think maybe like a month or two ago.
No, it was a week or two.
I forget the time.
Well, I mean,
Because he said he went to the
twice.
office. He went to the office twice the week before, and he said, "I went to your office for a reason those 2 times, to get your key, make a copy, and then replace it."
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And then he said it took me like a month or 2 months to plan everything out.
I
So he
think
did this all in like 2-3 months.
he definitely did the research and everything. For me, the fact that how much he planned it out seemed decently realistic, just based on his personality.
Well, that, and also if he's got his mind so set on this thing and he just puts off everything else, then I could see that being reasonable.
Yeah. From a plot standpoint, yeah, they wrote him and his plan. I think the villain and his plan was the most well written out part of the movie. The main character, I don't know what was going on with her writing. They threw so much stuff in there that I didn't think fit.
So my question to y'all is, so when we're having these flashbacks of, well, I don't even call them flashbacks, these sort of hallucinations with her mom, me and Payson were trying to figure out, was it cancer, or was it a car crash, or like what kind of accident happened?
I'm gonna
It
guess
doesn't-
cancer
yeah.
because she didn't have any hair,
Exactly. And so
and that's all I got.
And I kind of theorized that maybe she was suffering, if it was a car accident, which of course we don't know because they never truly said. But that one little hint where she had a headband, her hair was really short, so maybe side effects of chemo or something.
If anything, it could have been just severe head trauma, and they had to do surgery, so they shaved her head.
Exactly. But I felt like she suffered from survivor's guilt, honestly, if it was something in that case, such as a car accident or something. I was just wanting y'all's opinion about that.
I thought it was cancer. The mom kind of looked sickly. She had the kind of like, she had all the imagery. It was mainly the being not having any hair and having the scarlet bandana, I guess, covering her head, which is kind of the movie way of saying. But also they stressed how her hair was growing back. So
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. I'm trying to find it.
Because they don't really talk about that much.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the things that frustrated me was a lot of loose ends were open on this. A
Mhm.
Yeah,
lot.
and I thought they were gonna leave even more if thank you.
The main villain sort of just got away.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
was
that
like,
coming.
please don't make me have to look forward, not even look forward, make this into like a second movie,
No, that one
because
I saw
that would be
that
way
was
too far. At first, I thought if he does escape, they're gonna try to make a second movie out of this, or he's going to go to another person who helped plan this whole thing or gave him the resources. There would be like a second guy out in the woods waiting for them.
oh that in part that one that the very last couple sequence of scenes. There's no way they would have just left the gun there. They would have taken it in for evidence. The one that the sniper rifle, they would have taken that in for evidence. They would have just left it there.
Yeah.
Yes, they would have marked it and been careful and taken photos, but they wouldn't have just left it there. It wasn't a murder
And
scene
if they did leave it there, they wouldn't have left it there loaded.
or unguarded. Just a gun out in the wild. Um, there's no way that nobody would have noticed the hero of the day just walk into the woods with a gun. Or one of us. I mean, it's understandable that a student, inconspicuous student, could have probably escaped. That's with among all the chaos. Um, but then I think it was just mainly those two. Yeah, mainly those 2 points. That there's no way they left the gun. There's no way they wouldn't have noticed the hero walk out. Um, that and I really didn't like how when the dad was like, sometimes I still talk to her, and then the daughter was like, Dad, that's a little weird. I'm just like, no, I don't agree. Stop.
Yeah,
It would
and
have been better
I
if,
was
like, sometimes you just need to let go. She tried to be like, impart what she learned, but just going, that's kind of creepy.
yeah, that and I in the beginning I kind of expected her to be more of a ruthless killer because in the beginning when he was like, yeah, this is a situation I didn't want us to be in where we have to, and she just picks up a rock and drops it on this deer's head with no remorse, no anything. I expected her to be like show no emotion
Just all the
for,
red flags went up at that scene.
and then the movie started and the school shooting happened and her whole personality did a 180.
Yeah. Like, if she, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
I will admit, how they portrayed teachers was good. All of them trying to protect their students and everything. The cafeteria lady and the gym teacher, um, what they did that was good.
I
I
like
mean,
how
that's how a teacher should be.
there's some good teachers and there's some bad teachers. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if someone has a point. Well, um,
Well, sort of go off what Zach said. What you think? I agree with that. There's some good teachers and there's some bad teachers. There's some good teachers with bad days. And I
yeah,
think this movie tried to really represent that really well, especially with the gym coach, where he had the kid in his office and he said some things he probably shouldn't have, but who knows what was happening that day for him.
yep.
So it's one of those things like, was he a good bad teacher or?
that and teachers typically hate senior prank day.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of teachers were like, stop it, get out, whatever. And so when all this was going on, I think that was another really well planned part of this movie was they planned this perfectly on that day.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yes, I did agree. That was the day to do it because if anything weird happened, people would just kind of brush it off. The fact that there were multiple gunshots and just
I was about to
nobody
bring
else
that up.
heard.
That was one thing I also agreed was
Yep.
this isn't a cafeteria where everything echoes. We all been to a school cafeteria. Those places echo really loudly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
So
it's not
unless-
like
And
it's
they
silence.
barricaded they barricaded the where the window was where they drove the car in with bleachers and everything. That's not going to drown out any of the noise.
Yeah,
The people on the
um,
outside would have 100% heard that.
that and like the sound of the car busting into the cafeteria would have been very loud. And they had a shotgun, and a shotgun's very loud, and just
And
nobody heard.
honestly, the front office would have noticed a backpack up there more than
Um,
likely.
I really liked what they did with that one character's story. though, and the actor
with the whatever his name is,
was it? No, it
the one
was
with the shotgun.
yeah.
I
It
can't remember
Kip.
his name.
Kip.
Kip.
yeah
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Kip.
gonna say Chris. I'm like, that's
That
not his
was
name.
that was. I think his character was well written. I think
I was expecting him
it
to
was well
come
written.
in at a different point, besides just come in yelling, "Drop your weapons" and everything. I was expecting it to go down a little bit more, a little differently.
Yeah.
But, um,
Well, to take up for Kip, when all this was going down, he knew the plan. He was being told what to do, exactly what to do.
mhm.
And so when going off the plan, trying to save everyone, he honestly doesn't know what he's doing.
That kid was a Bond.
Yeah, I was
So
expecting him to like the interaction with the main character and the main villain to go differently, and then him just come in and shoot the other guy pretty much.
see,
And
that's what I was yelling at Payson was, if he just takes out the kid with the MP40, he has a chance.
yeah,
If he just takes him out, he has a chance of surviving this. But
and that's
yeah,
what I thought was gonna happen. Like she would distract the main villain, he would take out the guy with the MP40, and it would be just go from there. But no. But then again, I want to know how they got all those resources. The explosives, I'm sure he can find all that, but
Oh, yeah.
the to connect to all the news channels and everything,
Um,
I just don't expect
Well,
him to
Kip seemed
have
like
that.
a techie guy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Kip might have,
yeah.
but
If you're living in a small farm town, you could definitely get the materials to make
yeah,
bombs. That's
yeah,
easy.
those weren't that wasn't my real big problem.
If the for the TVs, um, simple satellite camping TV or like an
I
antenna
suppose,
TV, just go and buy a couple of those.
yeah.
Um, yeah. His mother, that scene, that was poorly shot, directed, in my opinion, because for me it wasn't clear that when they found his mother, that she was one dead and that two he had killed her. That was not clear at all to me. Based on the reaction, I was like, oh, she's dead, and he probably obviously killed her. But like from the small little snapshot that they gave, she could have just been sleeping.
With her eyes open.
Oh, did that happen?
Yeah, her
Yeah,
eyes
and
were
Oh,
open.
then
and
I
there was like somewhat of a red slit where the throat was.
Yeah.
If I don't remember,
I don't remember that.
if I remember that
It was a
correctly, because
brief image.
I was totally. I guess I just missed
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
the eyes were open.
the eyes were
If anything,
open. She had her head back, and I believe it was slit.
a bit limp, but yeah,
Yeah,
that was it. That and if she was sleeping, and she could sleep through the television, an officer banging on the door, and a
and the
dog,
dog's barking. Yeah,
it's she is amazing.
Um, I think the side villains, I appreciate. I liked. I did like how they had more than one type of person as the villain. They had this one kid who seemed pretty smart, charismatic, um, just trying to prove a point. The world just he got the short straw, and was just trying to prove a point. It was just angry. But then you have this one dude he hears voices and he's quite delusional and probably schizophrenic. They never talked about it, but like someone who has severe mental illnesses or mental disorders. But then you see someone else who's just been bullied and misunderstood, and no one's reached out to him, or he's just been closed off his whole life. So they had a spectrum.
And he misunderstands the situation going on
Yeah,
around him.
they just had a spectrum of people who participated in the plan. Um, but then they ruined it by making it an action film. I think I've talked about most of my grievances, other than the dude riding under the SWAT car. That's never in my head. That doesn't ever realistically work.
I mean, I suppose he could pull it off since he's an ex-marine,
Yes.
so he would
Yes.
know what to do and how to do it.
In my head, watching those scenes in movies, just like in every movie, I'm just like, how does that actually work?
So with vehicles like that, they are lifted to a degree so they can just go over any terrain. So I could possibly see someone hanging underneath it.
It's
But
more,
whether you see them or not, that's the question.
it's the
'Cause,
scene. It's the noticing when someone hops down and sneaks out.
yeah, so when she's trying to guide the SWAT, I feel like the driver may have seen it in the rearview mirror, or not the rear
I
mirror,
would
the
have
side
thought he
mirror.
would.
But I mean, in a situation where he's trying to look where she's pointing, I could semi understand like him running out real quick and no one seeing him.
I feel like it's possible, but the chances are very slim that it realistically happens.
And for him to find an angle for the
Oh,
cafeteria where no one else was there or watching, I find that highly unlikely. I'm
See,
sure there would have been
I
a lot
believe
of
I believe he could do it because before he even got his rifle or anything, he was kind of scoping out like,
Yeah.
okay, school's that way. Maybe he's dropped her off a few times before her friend, and he knows semi where it is. And he knows there's a tree line. I could see him sort of trying to figure out a rough area where to go.
yeah, where to go, but I doubt there would have not been cops or SWAT there holding a different angle to see if they could find a way to get in instead of standing right outside.
Fair.
They would have been all around the school, not just at one location, I would think.
Well, to be fair, as soon as he shot his sniper, they were all over him.
So I also believe that I believe he could get that close, honestly, because where they're holding most of the civilians at are at the major intersection, but everyone else is sort of focusing on that building, make sure there's no way that person or find a way in. So I feel like if he went around far enough and came back in, no one would have truly realized he was there until that shot was rang. So I believe that that could have happened, especially if he was an ex sniper or something. He could easily get around all those people.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. If they truly were just blindly focused on the school, then yeah, I believe he could easily get around them without ghillie or anything.
I guess my final point on this was that there are parts where the writing is good, the acting is good. Um, I just think they chose a very taboo topic to try to make an entertainment film about. And if they were not trying to make an entertainment film about it, they went the wrong way about doing it.
So do we still want to do a cronk of the film?
I mean,
Since I know Andrew doesn't really like this movie, do we still want to do a cronk?
I'm trying to think. The best friend.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say he's really the only option.
Yeah, I really love the friend because he has some good jokes in there. He has some really good jokes. Another thing I kind of find funny, but also kind of stupid in the same sense, was the whole SRO trying to change his entire tire before he went to the office because he peed himself and peed through his shirt and all. I kind of find that funny, but also kind of find that stupid.
Yeah, I don't. Then
But-
again, I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, to me,
but I
honestly,
doubt,
it was more funny than.
Yeah, I doubt I would change my attire.
Yeah, I would have went straight to the office, but for some reason, this man decided to go change his pants. Which I mean, I can kind of understand, but to me, that was a lot, really funny. Like, why do this? But
Yeah.
Payson, we should probably have
Mhm.
a trigger warning on this one. I'm just realizing.
It's probably yeah. Well, it's too late now. But spoiler warning. Okay.
No, like a topical trigger warning.
Okay. Trigger warning. I don't know if I have one of those. Do you want me to get it like a gun and then just say trigger warning underneath it?
I think that's a bit too far.
That's a bit too far. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just find a sign that says trigger warning.
Okay.
You also need to specify what it is.
What is a trigger warning?
Just trigger warning: school shooting.
Violence.
School shooting should be fine. Because then we'd have to put trigger warnings on top of like Marvel movies for violence.
Yeah, true.
I think
yeah.
I think it really only should be deserved if it's like sexual assault or
Yeah,
school
I get this is a touchy subject, but I I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Granted, with the inconspicuousities, I've already brought it down. I'll bring it down to Jax, and I'm not bringing it down anymore. But yeah, I'll bring it down to an 8. Um, but no, I still like this movie. Yeah, no, I understand it is a touchy subject, but I still think that this was more of an exaggeration for a reason, so that way nobody would be appalled that it looks so much like something that somebody had gone through exactly. But I could be completely wrong.
So this is probably where y'all are gonna hate me,
No,
The
that's
one
fine.
thing I will say is, yes, this movie is very triggering. I also like to think it tries to bring up a lot of sensitive topics that people point out but don't really handle, such as school policies and stuff. Because
Yes.
there are certain school policies that are related to this kind of school where they have to confirm it and all that. Instead of evacuating, they stay within the building, and the whole SRO situation. I think SROs are greatly unappreciated
Mhm.
and very not. They don't have the proper equipment to handle said situation if situation happens. Also, someone that needs proper training in this kind of situation. And another thing that kind of irritated me was I believe it was the English teacher who pulled out the actual little manual booklet and started trying to read through it. I believe as a teacher, you should know these kind of policies ahead of schedule, no matter what happens. Because if you're trying to read this and said shooter comes in your class, you're not already doing what it says. So it's just one of those things like I believe there's a serious need to look at school policies and stuff. And I
Yeah,
think this movie
Yeah.
hits it a lot.
it does.
Granted, all the exaggerated everything else, I believe school policies need to be watched. And the whole front office thing with the backpack, I know this is way, way behind. I can see that kind of stuff happening, especially if the front attendant isn't paying attention, like she was because she was on the
Yeah,
phone
but they
doing
also had multiple. They were coming in and out multiple times.
exactly. And
So I would have just because it's right in front of the door, pretty much.
yeah, exactly.
So I would have thought that they probably would have seen it out of the peripheral.
Yeah.
But I understand you're not really caring about it because it's just a backpack. They probably just
Someone
thought
left it,
nothing of
or
it.
it's a school prank and they're just waiting for it to go off or something.
Yeah. So I understand that's not really a
And another thing that kind of irritated me was the whole front desk lady not. I understand it's senior prank day and all that, but as a employee and a person who's sort of like the front gate to the school, if you get a call like that, I wouldn't assume it's just a joke. It's one of those things like, no, it. I don't care if it's senior prank day or whatnot. You need to go on it.
yeah. That and they shut down all the power, but they still use the intercoms. Is that a different line?
I think
So
the phone
yeah,
lines.
yeah,
Is
I
it?
think those are different lines.
It would it be? Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what kind of system the PA was on. But I know some older systems they are completely separate for power
Yeah.
in case of situations like that.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure, so I can't say that 100%.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
got a bicycle generator.
That's where the PE teacher was. But yeah, I really think, minus all the extremes and some of the exaggeration on this, I think it probably drew out the kind of sort of relook at school policies and stuff personally.
Yeah.
Because I know some schools are not very up to date because they don't have situations like this.
Mhm.
So it's just one of those things like I really think schools really need to look into it.
Especially with a school that size and only having one security guard.
Well, see, that's sadly how most schools are nowadays is one SRO, where I personally don't agree with that because the SROs are taxed beyond crap.
All right, that brings us to the end of this week's review of Run, Hide, Fight. Make sure if you liked our video, you actually like the video physically. Click the button, por favor. Subscribe if you're not. Next week it is my movie. I am choosing a 2020 indie film called Nomadland. It should be a little bit of a slower movie. And then, yeah, and that is that for this week. So we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.